Hey guys, Minaminas here. Today, I'm gonna bring you guys something super special. I've been wanting to do this for a long time. I was gonna save this for my birthday, but I have something else planned. Today, I'm gonna tell you guys the backstory of my avatar or Auk, Minaminas the dragon. Yup, you're finally gonna see her origins and how she came to be. For those who don't know, Minaminas is a night fury or Kumendran dragon hybrid who lives in the state of Florida along with her adoptive family, the Goldwings. But you're probably wondering how she ended up in the state of Florida in the first place. Well, I'm here to tell you just that. But before we get started, just a disclaimer. This is not my backstory in real life. My avatar and my real self are completely different identities. My avatar is just my persona. Just in case you're confused. Also, a warning that the backstory is gonna get really disturbing and eventually really sad to the point YouTube is gonna come after me for it. Viewer discretion is advised. Anyway, without further ado, here's the backstory to Minaminas the dragon. Long before Minaminas was born, there were two dragons, Eli, a night fury, and Ceto, a Kumendran dragon, dragons that mix Kirin and Eastern dragon traits. Eli met Ceto in the Land of Heart after she saved him from being attacked by a flock of skrills. Her dragon magic was the power to heal. After she healed his wounds, the black dragon thanked her for saving his life. She felt so delighted, even though she couldn't understand him since night furies can talk. As the dragon flew away, Eli couldn't get his eyes off her. She was beautiful with her cyan mane and beautiful brown eyes. Plus the fact she saved his life, the young dragon flew after her. Over time, Eli and Ceto became good friends, and over time, their friendship deepened to love. They became mates and flew to a cave in Tail where they had their egg. They were overjoyed that they were finally gonna be parents. But then their joy faded to worry. As you can see, there was this outgoing war between Eastern and Western dragons, Kumendran dragons included, as the Western dragons blamed them for the reason they were being hunted. The reason Eli was attacked by the Skrill flock was because he believed the Kumendran and Eastern dragons were innocent and he was labeled as a traitor. They didn't want their son or daughter to live in a land filled with war. So they decided to leave Kumendra and find a new place to live. After flying for what feels like weeks, they flew around the state of Florida. Ceto spotted something in the distance. A giant white building with a giant blue and white flag with red stripes. It was the NASA Vehicle Assembly Building. They hover around the building, making sure the coast is clear, and then land. Seeing no one is around, they looked inside the building and were amazed with all the rockets and machinery. They thought that this would be a nice place for them to call home. They made a nest of some sticks and placed the egg near a corner. The two dragons embraced. Relieved they finally found a place to call home. Unfortunately, the relief was short-lived. Later, a security worker arrived for his midnight shift and saw the two dragons. He freaked out and called the police. Meanwhile, Eli and Ceto were cuddling in the night when they then heard the sound of police sirens. The two dragons began to panic as they have been caught. They grabbed their head and tried to run away, but they were surrounded by police cars. Eli and Ceto stood their ground, not wanting to hurt anyone, but the police were armed with their guns. Ceto then got scared as she doesn't have any type of magic to defend herself. Ceto then gave the egg to Eli and told him to protect the egg as she planned to fly for help. But without any rain, she was defenseless. She tried to run past the police, but the cops in front of her saw her trying to escape and thought they were being attacked by the giant beast in front of them. They pulled the triggers on their guns and Eli heard a gunshot. Ceto was shot 4 times in the chest, killing her in front of her love's eyes. Eli could only watch helplessly as she fell to the ground dead. He looked at the egg, not wanting the baby to share his or her mother's fate. He flew away, plasma blasting the police cars so they won't follow him. However, police helicopters were called and followed the Night Fury, repeatedly trying to shoot the dragon down, but the dragon kept flying, protecting the egg as he's still flying. He didn't care about his life. All he wanted was to make sure his baby was safe from harm. Unfortunately, dragons are fireproof, not bulletproof. Eventually, the bullet wounds are too painful that he falls from the sky. While also protecting his egg, he crashes into the Daytona beach, breaking his wing. The egg was cracked, but not broken. Eli was relieved that the egg was okay, but he knew he was running out of time. During the last moments in his life, he took the egg and hid it under the pier. He then laid down and bled in the sand. Eli looked up at his egg one last time, relieved that his baby would be safe. Eventually, the young Night Fury succumbed to his wounds and tragically dies. The waves then carry his body out to sea, leaving the egg completely alone. A day later, a young man named Scott Goldwing was returning home after his wife gave birth to their son when he spotted a little egg under the pier of Daytona Beach. At first, he thought he was hallucinating, but curiosity got the better of him and he went to investigate. The moment he arrived at the pier, the egg hatched and out popped a tiny baby dragon, with a horn and mane of a Kumandran dragon and wings and tail of a Night Fury. She immediately looked around, seeing the world for the first time. She then saw Scott and immediately imprinted on him. Scott didn't know how to feel. He never saw something like her before and didn't want to leave her alone, so he decided to take her home with him. Samantha was a bit surprised and concerned, but Scott explained the situation. The two agreed she couldn't be left alone. Scott considered adopting her and raising her as one of their own, but Samantha decided against as they already have a child. But eventually, she warmed up to the baby dragon and gave in, and she became part of the Goldwing family. They named her Marina, and was given the nickname Minaminas during her childhood, and the name stuck. She grew up alongside Mike, the young boy who was born the same day. The two were basically like brother and sister, which is weird considering they're different species. And as for Minaminas, she accepted her life with her family, believing she was one of them, a giant purple-winged one of them, true, but one of them. Nevertheless, I know what you're thinking. Yes, she did meet Mike's friends, and no, she doesn't hate Amy. It's actually the opposite. She would often brag about how cute Mike and Amy would be together. It annoys the heck out of her brother, and he's told her 1,000,000 times that he and Amy were just friends. But she always begs to differ. And before you ask, yes, she did go crazy and squeal like a crazy Twilight fangirl when Amy kissed Mike at the parade. Eventually, Minaminas would meet the Dragon Gang, adopt Rex the Flyhopper, and even fall in love with an Apatosaurus named Arlo. She would also eventually find out she is not a human at all. And that's the backstory of Minaminas. I know, pretty dark, huh? I'm sorry if that disturbed you. What do you guys think? Make sure to like and subscribe. See ya, my peeps!